Okay, so we're back at the Craftsman mower today. This is the second one that we were working on, and this one's got a Kohler engine. To give you a little history, we bought this one. We try not to buy them, but if we're going to buy them, we try to buy them cheap. And the kid said that sold it to us, said the only thing that's wrong with it is dead battery, and the key switch is broke. I don't believe he said anything else. So he said it ran 2 weeks ago, the day we bought it. So we went ahead and ordered a new key switch. But I am very nervous about this. I have a bad feeling that it's not going to run. I feel like there's going to be an issue with the spark. It's just a feeling I have. I ran a test on the ignition coil in the last video. I'll put an up next box at the end of this video to that video so you can see it. And it tested, the numbers came up, let's put it that way. It didn't test in accordance to the chart I had, but there was no chart for this particular engine. It's a very old engine. So there should be some spark, at least, even if it's not enough to actually get it to run. So that was a good positive sign. The thing that has me concerned is this thing right here. It's a little Sam's box. You know, it's from the 90s, and this is, it's obsolete. So you got to rewire the whole thing. So if your ignition coil does not have spark, you basically got to get rid of this, the ignition coil, and you buy a whole new different setup. So I checked the fuse, it's working good. I've charged the battery, because this is a huge electronic system, and even for the ignition coil to work, it's got to have electricity from the battery. Briggs doesn't work that way. It just powers by the magnet on the flywheel. I got a lot to learn about the electronic system on a Kohler. Everybody says Kohler is better. I'm not too sure about that. They seem pretty complicated. It's even got a voltage regulator over here. It's kind of nuts. That's what they used to have on cars. I don't even know if they still have them on cars, but that's what they used to have on cars. The ignition coil is such a bad design on this thing, they've had to revise it twice. So I'm not the only one that was confused. Apparently engineers were too. So what we're going to do now is make sure the battery is still holding a charge. So I'll get the voltage meter out. We'll put it on 12 volts. Check it here. It says 12.4. 12.6 would be perfect, but 12.4 will get us there. Okay, so now let's put in the key switch. So, new switch comes with 2 keys. And then there's this plug. I'm not going to be able to show it to you because it's too crowded in there for me to work and you to see it, but it's a 7-pin plug, and I think we're just going to plug it in. Okay, so if we've done everything right, again, very nervous, this thing should at least turn over, if not start. Now to be clear, I know it turns over because I jumped it, bypassed the battery and all that, so it turned over pretty good. Okay, I feel like I checked the fuse before, but it is broke, so I'm going to put a new fuse in it. It wouldn't turn over. A deal of a lifetime. Okay, so I'm going to tighten the bolts up on the shroud there. I took those off so I could check the ignition coil. Then I'm going to take it for a mow, make sure it mows okay. And then I'm going to clean it up. I don't know, maybe even put a little spray paint right here. I think I might spray paint this and put a for sale sign on it. I forgot. It needs a mower deck belt. Forgot all about that. He did mention it too. So I said it sometime in this video, there was something else. I was sure there was something else that was missing, but that's it. But boy, it does run. So he's overfilled it in oil, and so I smell oil burning. I don't see any smoke coming out. So I'm guessing it's a little full. I'm going to drain some oil out of it after it cools. And the reason I do it after it cools when it's over full like that is it's so hot, you know, you're trying to put the plug back in, you don't want to lose all the oil. So if it's cooler, you can work a little bit quicker without burning yourself. Now when you drain the oil, you know, to change it, you should drain it when it's hot. That way everything comes out. It also mixes up all that dirt. If it's cold, that dirt settles down to the bottom of the sump and it never comes out of the engine. But if you stir it up, it's more likely to come out. So I'm going to get the pressure washer out. I'm going to start cleaning this up a little bit. So I got it washed up, but boy, it looks awful dull. So it's been sitting out in the sun some time, I think. So I'm going to put some turtle wax on it, but I want to be careful when I do this. I'm going to do a little test spot. When I was a kid, my friend had a old car, I don't know what it was, and we decided we were going to go out and wax the car. And he put a little wax on it, we got the buffer out, and it just took the paint right off. So I've always been cautious when you see this faded, see it's coming off on my fingers. So I want to make sure that we don't just take the paint off, and hopefully we can shine it up a little bit. It's got some rust on it too. Okay, I think it's dry, so I'm going to take my fingers, I'm just going to wipe it off, see what happens. No, it didn't do. Nope, that shined it up a little bit. Good. So this turtle wax is about 100 years old. I've had it forever. So even the little sponge that comes with it is all disintegrated. So I'll just use my fingers. You know, every time I talk to someone about the looks of a lawnmower, everybody says the same thing. Oh, I don't care about the looks of the lawnmower. Yet you can get $100 more out of it if it looks good. Easy, $100 more. You sell a green Craftsman next to a beautiful orange Husqvarna or a beautiful green John Deere, and they run exactly the same. There's no difference. Everything's the same horsepower. You'll get more money out of the Husqvarna and John Deere. Now everybody's gonna say, well, it's the name brand. The motors are exactly the same. The engines are the same. The mower deck's the same. Everything's the same on them. Now I do understand that John Deere does not have MTD or anybody. They produce them themselves in Tennessee. But the engine is a Briggs & Stratton engine. It's identical to a Briggs & Stratton engine on a Husqvarna or on a Craftsman. So there's really not much difference. So yes, looks makes the big difference, I think. Granted, I guess if you put the name Husqvarna, John Deere on it, it just sounds like it's a more quality machine. Now I'm going to throw a little paint on this. But before I do, I want everybody to realize I do know that you're supposed to sand it down and prime it and all that. I'm not doing anything big fancy like that. I don't want to spend more money on it just so I can sell it for the same price that I want to sell it for anyways. So I'm just going to touch it up is what I'm going to do, is just kind of cover the rust up, just so it looks better in the picture. Okay, so now I'm going to take the wax off, see how it did. I think it kind of, it made it kind of duller, darker dull, kind of a flat paint color, but it took all the, not all, but a lot of the imperfections out, which made it look better. That's perfect. That's, you know, and I'm sure that some troll is going to chastise me because I'm manipulating the sale just like a salesperson would do. You're no better than a big corporation. Well, why should all the big corporations get all the big money? I mean, you spend that money there as well. So, but when the little guy does it, oh, it's a crime. You can't stop the big corporations. Well, you're not going to stop me either. If you don't want to buy it, I got an idea. Don't buy it. People's business sense sometimes baffles me. I'm going to go into business, but I'm going to do everything I can not to make money. Okay, so we'll put on some valve cover, or valve caps, or whatever we'll call them. Okay, so now we're going to take out a little bit of oil. It's cooled off quite a bit. Well, it's cooled off completely. I missed a lot on the engine. I've ordered a lawnmower belt and a seat cover. Seat cover always makes it a little bit more attractive for the sale. They're $15, and then the belt was $15, and the switch was $15. There's the switch now that it's installed. 2 keys. There's the paint job, and Carolyn spruced up the steering wheel and the plastic part. So now I got to get that off there, the dribbles. The oil level is at the right level. We got the air valve caps in place, and it runs. So this one's going to go pretty good. I mean, Kohler engine generally has a better reputation. I don't know why. I guess because it's not Briggs. I think what happened was Briggs went bankrupt years ago. Yeah, and everybody just thinks that because they went bankrupt, they're a terrible company. I like Briggs. Briggs had a problem. Briggs has some problems, but so does Kohler. Kohler has an electrical issue. Briggs, You got to adjust the valves all the time. I know that's a big pain, but hey, you know, we decided to elect the government officials that made it a law that they had to have more efficient and less pollutant lawnmower engines, so that's what we got. We got overhead valves. And quite frankly, they're so much easier to work on. You can do them yourself than having to do a valve job every time you need to adjust your valves. So Briggs is just easier to work on. Now somebody, you know, got all snotty with me today. Well, there's still Kawasaki. Yeah, I can work on a Kawasaki. It doesn't have a nightmare electronic system either. So keep it simple, stupid is what I always say. So it's shined up a little bit. I'm pretty proud of it, and it runs. That's what's so cool. I don't have to do any work to this. We'll get that mower deck off, see if there's any other issues with it. Sharpen the blades. I hope I can inspire you to figure out how to make a profit when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.